Hey everyone, welcome to Sidetrack Adventures. This is Steve. Right now I'm on California Highway 79 in one of the most out-of-the-way parts of San Diego County. And this road largely follows the same path that the old Butterfield Overland stage line followed. Now the plan today is to visit one of the original stagecoach stations that was built in 1858 and then was later used as part of an important army camp during the Civil War. Now the reason I say the plan today is to visit this stagecoach station is because I don't really know what we're going to see when we get out there. There's not a lot of information online as far as visiting this place, and when I looked on Google Maps, I did see a sign on the building saying open on weekends from 9 to 5. However, it doesn't look like anyone's visited this place in quite some time. So, I'm not sure what we're going to get when we get out there. But let's head on the highway and see if we can go visit the Oak Grove Stagecoach Station. We are just north of Warner Springs right now, and it's going to take about 10 minutes to get to where we're going, so I'll try to give a real quick overview of the Butterfield Overland Stage as we drive to Oak Grove. In 1857, with the Transcontinental Railroad still being debated and likely being years away, the government wanted a faster way to get mail to California from the east. In September, John Butterfield, a New York businessman, was awarded a $600,000 a year contract for delivery of mail between St. Louis and San Francisco. Butterfield said the mail could be delivered in 25 days and the trip would be made twice a week, year-round. This was a major improvement from the Overland Mail of the time, which took up to 52 days to go from San Antonio, Texas to San Diego, California. That route was only about 1,400 miles long. The new Butterfield route would be 2,800 miles in length. Butterfield was able to achieve a year-round stage line by following the so-called Oxbow route. This route avoided the Rocky and Sierra Mountains. It accomplished this by traveling south through Texas, the New Mexico Territory, Fort Yuma, near present-day Yuma, Arizona, and Southern California, before heading on to San Francisco. The $600,000 a year contract Butterfield received was huge. It was by far the largest mail contract to that point, and $600,000 went pretty far in the mid-1800s. But it ended up costing over $1 million to get the stage line set up. Butterfield received backing from Wells Fargo to help with the costs, and in return, Wells Fargo would end up removing Butterfield and taking over the line within 2 years. The first mail shipment left on September 16, 1858, a year and a day after Butterfield was awarded the contract. And for the most part, the 25-day schedule was kept, greatly speeding up communication between California and the East. The faster Pony Express wouldn't start until 1860. While the Butterfield Overland Mail met its goals, as you could probably guess by the date it went into operation and its path through the South, a big problem was coming. The start of the Civil War ended the southern stage route, and the government directed stages towards Salt Lake City instead. The last mail delivery on the Butterfield line left on March 21, 1861. During its operation, at its peak there were about 170 stations set up along the route, and the Butterfield Overland Mail employed over 800 people. And we are about at the Oak Grove Station, a station that was built for the line and is amazingly still here. So we've made it out to the Oak Grove Stagecoach Station, and I found the sign that said it's open on weekends from 9 to 5. But I think that may have been weekends in 1997 or something, because it doesn't look like anyone has visited this place in quite some time. But I guess we'll take a look around and see what we could see through the fence. I can definitely see how people pass this place and don't realize it's here. There are a number of signs on the fence here. This sign that says, "You may be asked to leave at any time. Please enjoy your stay," is kind of a metaphor for life. Just for reference, I am filming this on a Saturday at about noon, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, but I don't think it's been open for quite some time. I jokingly said the 90s a minute ago, but I'm not actually sure when the last time it was open. At least we can still get a pretty good look at it through the fence. You can't really tell from here, but this is actually an adobe building with wood covering the adobe. That's likely why it's still here and in such great condition, because the adobe has been protected all these years. The north end of the building was built in 1858 and is the original station. The building has been extended over the century and a half since its original construction. I've seen it claimed that this is the only surviving station that was built for the Butterfield Overland Mail in the West. There are other stations that still exist, several in San Diego County alone, but they weren't built specifically for Butterfield. One thing that I think is really cool is the oak trees here are the same trees that would have given shade to the stagecoaches and Civil War soldiers. You could see the same trees in historic photos of the place, though it looks like some of the trees that were once here are gone. Speaking of trees, this woodpecker has been going crazy on this tree the entire time we've been here, and only stops when we try to film him. The purpose of this station was to change horses and load and unload mail. There were no amenities such as food or lodging here. The primary purpose of the stage line was to carry mail, but passengers were able to ride as well. A trip the entire length would cost about $200, and the stages ran 24 hours a day. There was no stopping to sleep. Passengers had to sleep on the stage while in motion. It was a very rough trip, to say the least. The very first passenger to ride the entire length was quoted as saying, "Had I not just come out over the route, I would be perfectly willing to go back, but I now know what hell is like. I've just had 24 days of it." The division superintendent, Warren Hall, was the first to live here. That first mail delivery that left Missouri on September 16, 1858, arrived here on October 6th. With the start of the Civil War, the Union wanted to stop any Confederate sympathizers in California from heading to Arizona, so they built an army camp here, Camp Wright. The Oak Grove Station was used as the camp's hospital. The camp was closed in 1866, and I believe this is the only building that was part of the camp still standing. After the Civil War, over the years this building was used as a tavern, a hotel, a post office, and a general store. Gas pumps were even added at one point. The store closed in the 1990s. Despite it being closed, you could tell this place is still being at least somewhat looked after. It looks to be in really good condition, and hopefully it'll reopen at some point. And that's our look at, well, as best as we can see it anyway, the Oak Grove Stage Station, which is said to be the last remaining station in the West that was built for the Butterfield Overland Stage Line. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.